All right, second activity is, last time, each of your tables had some specific materials that you read, you answered some questions about, and you developed some sort of expertise with that material. So here's what's going to happen, okay? First thing I'm going to want you to do is just take a couple of minutes in your group to kind of remind yourselves what it is that you did talk about. You've got recorder notes about that in your folder. I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 minutes to do that, and then we're going to split up, all right? You're going to split up according to the color of your card. So all the pink people are going to go to this corner, over there. All the green people are going to go to this corner over here. The yellow people are going to come up here, and the violet lavender people are going to be back there. Okay? So it doesn't really matter where you are as long as you find your color. All right? So remind yourselves, take a couple of minutes, and then when you're ready, start moving. And when you get to the new group, I will come around with a challenge to give you that each of your group is going to have to deal with. And what I'm going to want you to do is take the challenge, take the information you have, and try to use that to come up with a response to that particular challenge. The outcome from the challenge is going to be posted. Right? So your answer is going to be something that's visual. Each of you are doing something slightly different. All right? Each person at the new group has a unique expertise. So everybody in the group is essential to being able to contribute to this output. All right? So in the new group, you're only going to need 2 roles. One person kind of be a timekeeper, and the other person ultimately is going to stand up with this poster and say a few words about it, okay? Like a couple of minutes, right? We don't need to have other roles in the new groups. All right, so we understand what's going to happen? Okay, my goal is, okay, the goal is to try to have a poster in about 30 minutes max. If we can get that done, then I may put off the talking about the poster until next time so we can play with the nitrogen. Okay? All right, so there's a benefit to being efficient. All right, so go ahead, take a couple of minutes, remind yourselves, and then when you're ready, start moving to those new locations.
In our the questions were neurons carry signals via action potentials. What is that? Is that an electrical impulse that goes down the axon of neurons? What processes have to promote an action potential? The influx of sodium ions and outflow of potassium ions. Are they constant or temporary? They're temporary because each impulse is its own, so when it travels down, it diminishes. How do they travel? The axon acts like a cable, so it travels through that. And what distinguishes a strong stimulus from a weak one? The number of action potentials.
I just didn't want to
a high rate of fire.
we never figured out what was the concept for?
Yeah.
Where on the neuron is the concept?
And 2 on the group.
2 was in there, but it's at the end.
Do we bring our bring our name tags with us? Do we bring our name tags?
I'm not moving, so.
I don't know.
Do we come back?
Oh crap.
So the answer is actually
I think that we were playing with the nitrogen. Doing something different. No, yeah.
from another neuron or
I have a roll around skull. Found it in my room. Shaped like an second eye. I think my roommate got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like
And I
They're
think
not
it just kind of hung out there for a while. Lost it in class earlier today, so it's on
I wanted to bring a banana because like it'd be really fun. When you put a banana in like the nitrogen, it shatters. I think an orange still will. I think like a flower. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, that's what stinks about being like a winter. You can't just like grab a flower. This guy did a lot.
You guys all set? Yes. You guys all set? Okay, all right, so what color was here? Red or pink was over here. What was over here? Green. Over here was yellow and violet. So please move. You will need an extra chair at those tables because there's going to be 5.
Hello.
Maybe
This should be fun.
Got all messed up. I don't know what I was supposed to do.
Oh well. You're prepared for me today, so. I was already sitting.
I don't like how that's right there.
You don't want to smile in the camera.
Option one.
Put on your
My
most
table up there is
adorable
really
face.
intimidating too because they have the camera right there and like a little speaker on the table too. Or like a microphone.
Yeah, I think we should all look into the channel, put on an adorable face.
and violet. There is your challenge. You guys are well, the other people didn't take their inputs. And yellow. Okay, so what's on there is your challenge. You need to design a poster. I have poster paper up here. We got plenty of markers. You got table, make space to do whatever. The extra tables you can use for space if you need it. And we're going to see how well we can do in the next 20 minutes or so. Here's my suggestion. The first thing is you should go around the table and each person should say a little bit of what it is that they know about. Because the rest of you don't know what everybody knows about. Okay? Start there and then start figuring out how what you know can address the challenge. Okay? Go ahead.
Who wants to start?
Well, I think we all need to start by going into an ice pond and then into a song.
Yeah. Back then, we had a lot of neuroscience stuff. We had what are receptors on neurons, how do they work, and then specifically what are thermoreceptors and how do they work. So receptors on neurons are membrane-bound proteins that are activated by neurotransmitters, and they work by, they're on postsynaptic cells, and the binding of neurotransmitters to the receptor protein causes some sort of change.
I have the change.
You have the change?
Yeah, the action potential.
Oh, yeah, that's, we have two different types of receptors. We've got ionotropic receptors, which react by opening an ion channel, and that electrical change causes action potentials. And then there's also metabotropic receptors, which cause the cascade of protein changes. And then thermoreceptors are just sensory receptors that code for absolute relative changes in temperature, so it responds to changes in the temperature. Although in our article, they kind of just said they didn't really know how it responds to changes in temperature, but it does. And there's different types of receptors that react differently to warming and cooling.
I have the definitions of their receptors. So there's two kinds. There's hot and cold, and the cold are more numerous. And below 10 degrees Celsius, the pain receptors produce a freezing sensation. Then between 25 and 45, there's
heat receptors, and then about 45, the pain receptors produce a burning sensation. And then they're stimulated by abrupt changes in the temperature and fade out after a few seconds or minutes. So depending on how long they stay, I guess, it would, how much pain they feel. Jump out quick.
I had stuff on like cells, doing stuff on like neurons, so we have the basic structure of the neurons, which is cell body, axon, and dendrites. And then from there we got into action potential, which we've talked about a little bit. And then some neuron types, which are sensory and motor. And sensory neurons are obviously the ones, like when you jump into the cold water, that's the ones that are gonna be affected. Who else had the action potential? Yeah, okay.
We had basically like the response from the central nervous system, kind of. So it talked about like the types of thermoreceptors, and we have central thermoreceptors, which are like inside your body, which like regulate body temperature of your organs and everything, and then peripheral thermoreceptors are the ones that are in the skin. And in the skin, the cold receptors are greater than the warm receptors, like more numerous. But the central thermoreceptors, there's more warm receptors than there are cold. And then it talked about how the afferent fibers connect these thermoreceptors to the hypothalamus, which is where like the interpretation of that occurs, like the synthesizing, and then they send the signal back out via efferent fibers.
And a little bit on action potentials. Basically, when you're looking at ion channels, you have the electrical impulses generated by sodium coming in and potassium leaving. It's actually a really small amount each, but that's how they described it. And I read this is temporary. It's just an impulse that travels down the axon. It acts like a cable, and then it kind of diminishes as it goes down. And so the stronger the stimulus, you have more firing. So more electrical impulses makes a stronger stimulus. So I guess if something was really, really, really hot, you'd be firing like crazy. And if you're not, if it's warm, that's probably less of that. That's my interpretation.
The way the action potentials work is you can't have like different sizes of action potential, so it's not like one fire is going to be a lot stronger than another. It's just they base like how strong stimulus is based on the pattern that they fire. So if it's firing a lot of times over and over again, that's going to be a different response that it fires every once in a while.
Okay.
And the neuroscience.
Fun stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We touched on this in nursing,
Yeah.
but we don't. The diagram.
Okay.
Look at our toes.
So our job